bit some more to get to the level that they are at now. We've seen them grow, and then we've seen them plateau a little bit. Think that's fair to say?
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Like, as a team, they rose up when they had, what was it, Toby in the offlane. Then, of course, they brought in Kezu. And that new lease of life from Kezu was, an outstanding kind of development for the team. Since then, they have kind of gone back into their, Viking ways of being able to lose to some tier 2, tier 3 teams, but then also, dominate against these tier 1. So I feel for this TI qualifier, this is like the underdog team. Like they could easily win this qualifier, or they could be out in 2 series. I don't know.
It's up in the air, and I think you can say the same thing for every team here, because we just saw Team Nigma struggling a little bit against the Hellbear Smashers. We've seen OG, they have got a new player in Samail, and in the ESL 1 summer, it didn't really work out too well. And I'm mentioning all of those because both OG and Nigma, together with Team Liquid, who by the way also bummed out, they all kind of bummed. And we don't know what they're gonna bring here to this qualifier, making it so spicy. We're in the draft already, actually. OG will be on the dire side for this one. We got Lena Magnus opening and an Axe Ancient Apparition opening. I think for both teams, that's so stable. That's good, right?
Yeah,
for both teams, should be happy.
I'm looking at Magnus, right? I'm looking at like just OG. They're qualifying for TI. They want to get there, of course. Defend their crown. They go for the Magnus. Simple as that. I think the main thing here is the research from Viking. The bans, the Pangolier and the Hoodwink. These are both heroes that Topton and Satsuka have been spamming in their pubs in their respective roles of 2 and 4. So to take away the flexibility that often has carried OG from some of these drafts, and then just force them into a more kind of open draft, which is exactly what this Magnus is, but still very scary in the hands of OG for sure.
Yeah, I like this. I feel like we're seeing already strong laning setup. I think that if we're looking at all the qualifiers, the Southeast Asian qualifier probably has made the biggest impression on the meta as a whole, purely because the games went on for that long on most of their series. And I wonder what kind of impact we're going to see that qualifier have here in these qualifiers, because, for example, we saw a lot of Leshrac. Answered by also a lot of PLs as well, but also pucks because of that, and we don't see any of that at the moment, even though both of these teams, they can play it.
Europe's all about the off lanes, right? Like you think about the, even during DPC, Lions getting first place, it was built around, S4 and what he brought, and then kind of extrapolate that a little bit further with maybe Viking. Their openings are often like the Timbersaw, the Broods, Axe here as well. I think Europe is just hard stuck on always wanting, not always, but at least leaning more towards the offlane as being the key role to open up their draft with.
We got some carries banned out on the side of Viking, the Medusa, the Terrorblade removed, and for OG we got the TA, the Marana, and the Storm banned out, and an instant Invoker pickup. Also a little bit of a deny pick, of course, on the side of OG.
Yeah, exactly. It is, just a deny pick here. I think when they put all emphasis on banning out Sumo, they need to kind of give themselves something to enter the second phase with. The casual Invoker, there's not really a lot of heroes that like instantly counter an Invoker. It's not as if like it's the old Brood days where you put mid, Brood's now off lane, so you can with confidence pick it. It's why we saw in the previous series, it was always first phase banned out, because picking an Invoker, it's like picking a Rubik, right? It's like, they got the hero. We can't really pick anything to deal with that specifically.
And do you feel like we saw in the bans of OG them already kind of setting up for an Invoker for themselves? Because they did ban out the Storm and the TA, decent counters to that. What is left in the pool to go up against an Invoker?
Just any generic mid hero. I think honestly, like Storm's actually banned by OG, but like any hero bit of catch, right? Just punish the hard lockdown that is currently present on Vikings lineup. You're currently all about the core, right? Axe jumps in, everything's layered in. Sunstrike, AA Blast. And that's why OG go for this Oracle, have that level of, or that layer of saving their lineup, because Magnus lineups, you prop that one hero up front. You're pushing him into the engagement. That's why Viking is so happily kind of drafting to execute that one hero. Oracle, of course, kind of mitigates that. So both kind of teams throwing punches right now within the draft, trying to one up their kind of game plan.
Well, let's see what Viking is going to go for here. They need something to define a draft a little bit more, and I'm thinking about maybe position 4. And I know this is one of the few teams I was going to say. Different position 4. You were okay. I thought this is the one team that plays Spirit Breaker sometimes together with Tundra, of course, on snaking, but. There's your Leshrac as well, Oracle Leshrac. Oh, that is pain in a nutshell.
Yeah, that is the Sumail playing on Liquid effect, where he then comes to OG after. Of course, he was forced, against his will, to play this Leshrac many games in a row. No, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's very potent, and I think most likely this will just be the safe lane. You'd assume, like, let Sumail play it,
Yeah.
and it just opens up Topson to play a more maybe diverse mid lane. But they're not getting that classic empowered core. But we haven't really seen that be a prominent thing with Magnus nowadays. It's not like you have to go for the melee player core to go with it. Like Viking ban out Medusa, for example. But it'd be nice to see if maybe they have something to play around the RP and the Skir a bit more than just the Leshrac and the Lina.
Yeah, just the Leshrac and the Lina is it's maybe a little bit more more squishy. They can fix that obviously with their last pick for sure. What would fit in well for Viking? What type of carry are they looking for? And is there potentially a axe carry like possible even?
Oh, let's check the pubs. He has he's only played like 11 pubs so far in the last 8 days. No
that
axe,
we know of.
That we know of, exactly. Those Smurfs, they exist.
And one of the things that when we see all these teams, like we have the Western European qualifiers and the Chinese qualifiers, the only two qualifiers that are still left. We didn't really get a lot of time to talk about the teams as a whole, but I know all these teams, they've had trouble finding the scrims that they wanted because they don't want to scrim each other, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of practice, pubs is normally all you kind of got to go on, apart from a couple of scrims here and there, because you can't really scrim Eastern European teams. They are already done. And all the teams that were staying in Ukraine longer, they're already gone as well. So I'm so curious to see what the teams have come up with for these qualifiers, and also curious to see what these final picks were going to be. We're going to see some bans on the cores still. We have the Juggernaut removed on the side of Vikings, so that might be that they are still expecting Topson to play the Leshrac, perhaps. Or, yeah, he can play something else. He could play Lina, maybe. Can he play Lina? Would he play Lina against?
He actually could.
Would be good.
Yeah, it could actually be all right there. I think if we look over at Viking real quick, it's like their carry right now is, I'm thinking like Spectre or Anti-Mage style potentially. But with a Viper ban themselves on OG, maybe they. Interesting. They ban a Viper. Yeah, I feel like Spectre or Anti-Mage is just really good for Viking. Yeah, and they have the first pick coming into this phase from Viking, so they might be able to snatch it away if.
I mean, if you're gonna have a mag lineup and you ban out Viper, wouldn't the PA be the obvious choice? So shouldn't Viking ban out the PA? It's like the combo.
That's true.
mag
Yeah,
PA?
the PA as well. That's true. That's true. Also, I muddled up my my pick order, but it's fine. It happens. We'll
Why?
see. Viking has the ban. Well, because I muddled up who was picking after the ban. I was just being a silly Billy, as you do.
All good.
Thank you, yeah.
What we do know is Viking is picking, or banning rather, their last hero.
Yes.
And I think, just to be sure, you should ban the PA. I feel like that's
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? That's the play, though. You
But
know, you
that's what
ban
they
the Viper.
want you to do.
Exactly.
Oh.
So instead, they give both up available. Ooh, Spectre or the PA. What's going to happen? They go for an Earth Spirit. Whoa! Spin it round. They're just going for something completely different. I don't know why I got so animated over an Earth Spirit.
I mean, that's an Earth Spirit probably for Topson, surely.
Yes,
I know Saxa can do it, but it's the Topson special. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Just put it
go
on
for
mid.
it.
To be clear,
This is,
the
you
mid.
know, game one of your TI qualifiers. OG is a team that has done this before. They have gone through qualifiers before. Actually, they knocked out Saxa and Kezu from the qualifiers in TI8, which, by the way, at that point were on the same team. So, you know, there's some history there.
Bad blood.
Saxa and Celery, I believe, actually. But bad blood. No, I don't think so. But
no, there's not.
I mean, you gotta open with what you are strong with, in series style. So in terms of tops and Earth Spirit, I'm all for it.
No, I like that. Like, and they go for the brew. Ooh, sprinkle of the. But yeah, I think first of all, let's touch on OG's style of draft right now. It is going to be this mid Earth Spirit. They are going to be playing off the fact that he does immense amount of right click with the talent, the damage talent. You get the empower as well. He's going to be able to execute these heroes, and he gets tanky so quick. So that alone, OG is going to be up in your face. That's why they go for this kind of brood style, because of course, brood in laning phase, he can overwhelm this tower, and OG now has to react a lot to this brood presence. Like, are they going to be killing him, defending towers? They can't just simply run across the map, because if they do that, they're losing 2 towers. So I understand Vikings' response with the brood. It's about defend through aggression, or at least kind of positional aggression. But yeah, like OG's lineup is pretty scary. And it is the carry axe that we haven't mentioned yet either. Oof.
Yeah, Shad will indeed be playing that axe. I can't wait to see this game play out. Do you want to make a quick prediction for this game one?
Shiva, predicting Europe, so I don't. If I predict OG, you're an OG fanboy. If you predict,
yes,
you know, no. Okay,
are you an OG hater or an OG fanboy?
Kezu.
That seems to be the
my
thing.
boy Kezu on his group. He had last pick. This is the game for him to, do that Kezu magic. So I'm gonna go with a Kezu for why not Viking.
All right, well, let's find out what's gonna happen in this first game of the best of 3. We're gonna find out together with Odie Pixel and Fogged.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, game 1 of this OG versus Viking. Fogged, we have a last pick Brood here coming out on a scary Brood player. Kezu getting it here for Viking. How scared of it are you here, do you think, if you're OG, or if you're OG, you say, hey, look at our heroes, we're going to run at them, we're going to bring the action, we're going to be able to squash the Brood. You know, what way is this one going to go in your mind?
I just want to see how teams, if there's going to be an over-adaptation from OG, or if they're just going to play their own style and just let Kezu have his own game and then just dominate the rest of the map, because it is a very, very aggressive lineup, like you're saying. This Lash, we've got a lot of early aggro, not a lot of really cooldown-based things. It's really just the RP from OG, so this is exciting. And I think we have to say it, this Earth Spirit, Topson, he's been a huge fan of these Echo Saber mid laners lately. I know people probably seeing him inside of those pubs doing it, so I'm just excited to see these constant battles, because this looks like super fight-heavy lineup from OG.
No, absolutely, and I think from both sides as well, Viking, they're going to be pretty happy to meet the action, at least with, maybe not quite as soon and as early as OG, but if they're able to hit those timings, get those good 6s on the supports, they are going to have the ways to initiate, to break in, to counter what OG's going to try and throw at them. Heroes like Axe, Clockwork, they are going to be able to deal with heroes collapsing in on top of them and offer the ability to turn things around, split them up, set up for the big combos that are going to come crashing in from the Invoker and the AA.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of information game. That's the thing that I'm looking at for Viking, is finding these backlines, finding these squishy heroes, bypassing the Magnus and the Earth Spirit, which they absolutely can do, right? You've got Clockwork, you got Spiders, you got even an AA Blast coming over the top. Do have a lot of different ways to scout. Even Boom, an Invoker, he can get into those backlines with his Ghost Walk, since he's very likely to go Quas Wex, because that's just what you have to do now every single time as Invoker. So yeah, this should be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, and I guess you've got to imagine with Topson getting that Earth Spirit in as the last pick,
yeah,
this is going to be a mid-matchup that he feels pretty confident in. Playing against the Invoker, should be able to have a fine old time in the 1v1.
Yep. You can't put that much harassment onto the Invoker, unfortunately, but you're going to free farm as this Earth Spirit, and you have better rune control. So you're going to get that bottle. Invoker's not going to get bottle. It's going to be up to the Viking supports to really check out the runes in mid to help out Boom, so that Topson doesn't get some crazy strong power rune at that 6-minute mark.
Aramis. Well, they're going to have a bit of a chase on to the Clockwork here. See if they're going to have enough for this. They will have another Fortune's End in a few seconds from No-Tail. Aramis can get up to the high ground in time. Now No-Tail will be able to get the cast off. It's a decent root duration. Samael, is he in range for the stun? Can't quite close the gap. Won't be able to close in on time. The root at this level, of course, not lasting quite long enough. So Aramis will make it back to base, and we'll start to see the lanes take form. Top lane against Kezu's Brood, it will be No-Tail on the Oracle supporting Samael's Leshrac. Over in the mid, of course, Boom's Invoker against Topson's Earth Spirit. And then down on the bottom half of the map, you'll have Saxa laning here with Seb as this Lina Magnus duo against, of course, the safe lane Axe from Shad. They'll have the backup of Celery in this lane. I mean, and looking at some of these side lanes, who's going to struggle, Fogged? Who's going to have a rough time here on the first few waves?
I think it still just might be Shad bottom. Even though we've seen these axes do very well, this is a very strong lane OG has. Magnus, Lina, two of the strongest off-lane heroes, the 3-4 combo. High burst, high physical damage, you have pretty much everything there. So I think that's probably the lane I'm looking at to suffer the most. I think Sumail should be pretty okay up top. The Clockwork has a pretty tough time, Aramis. I think actually putting pressure onto Leshrac and Oracle as these two ranged heroes, he's just going to have to cut and find his own game. Overall in the game, it's a pretty good Clockwork game, but in laning phase, it's going to be a slow start for Aramis.
Yeah, once he gets those few levels, I mean, a big part of his movements are going to be matching that of Topson's once the laning stage starts coming to an end and Topson gets aggressive across the map. It's going to be very important where the clock is to try and punish Topson for the aggressive moves you know that he's going to want to make on his mid-Earth Spirit.
There's a lot of fun moves you can make as Clock this game for sure. Like versus Lina, just getting on Lina is always great, but just catching into Magnus a lot of times, you throw yourself into Skewer so you can mess with the combo so many different instances. So yeah, we'll have to watch Aramis who and when he can find them. Looking at last hits right now, it's looking pretty solid, the setups for OG, as we're kind of saying. Like, these lanes look really good for them.
Yeah, this mid lane in particular, the 1v1 heads up. Thompson 9 for 3 against the 4 for 0. It's going to be a slow start on the early levels as the Invoker in the matchup. But we'll see once Boom has got a few points in the combo, if it's going to be enough to sort of keep Thompson on his toes. Bottom lane, skewer back onto Shad. Seb, he's going to have another shockwave in a second, but Shad quick enough to get himself away and into the trees. CS-wise down here again, as you say, sort of across the board. OG just having the favourable time on these first few waves. As Seb also taking a good lead against Shad. Actually getting the setup here onto Celery with the shockwave. Kezu will actually end up getting first blood up top, as they don't have enough damage to kill Celery off bottom. So Kezu finding No Tail slightly out of position, and of course, as expected, tips coming out already. We're going to see some pretty top-tier tipping game coming out from both sides in this series. Bottom lane, again. Another attempt. This time they'll be able to get the grab onto the bigger one. They get Shad. Seb with a shockwave skewer back. There's enough control and damage to bring the axe out of the bottom lane. I
gotta be honest, I'm pretty astonished that No Tail died top. I thought their lanes were super easy to not get killed in, and they just have a very good aggressive lineup for bottom. So I mean, this is going to be a really slow start for Viking. Like, I don't know what Shad's even supposed to do. These double nukes that come out, you're also not that tanky, because he went for Magic Stick level 1 rather than going for the Ring of Protection on the axe. So these right clicks, they add up quickly. Galina's going to constantly be beating on you. They've got Bassi for the spam too on OG. This is not easy for Viking whatsoever. We're seeing mid also, it's not getting better either. Thompson having an excellent time. He's got the runes to work with. Boom. It's, I mean, very slowly recovering, but all three lanes going OG favor.
Absolutely, yeah. Even this top lane, regardless of the kill on No Tail, Samel just having complete lane control, heavy amount of denies. It's not going to be a quick and easy start for Kezu on the off-lane Brood. So definitely a bit of a hole in this early game that Viking will have to dig themselves out.
Yeah, and it's some of the times where your carry is annoyed when he's laning versus a hero like Broodmother, right? Because that annoying Silken Boulder is going to be frustrating you, this missed chance constantly. But it's a Leshrac. You're never going to be missing. You're never actually really having to deal with the problem of this Silken Boulder that can be frustrated as a carry. So I feel like this pick was like a gotcha. You know, this Leshrac Oracle carry lane. Now you're playing versus a Brood, where a Brood and a Clockwork, where they thrive versus playing versus melee carries, and now they're versus a ranged, like, semi-carry kind of style. So I think this is a really good approach by OG.
And to the point, when they picked the bridge, they did imagine the lanes as this was, like, Kezu knew that he would be laning into a side lane Lash.
I think you should have known that they were going to switch it up. Like, when does Thompson play Lina, man? You know, like, I was looking, I was like, no way Thompson's playing this Lina. Like, this is a Soxa Seb lane for sure. They're going to pick something out of the ordinary for mid lane for Thompson, and that's exactly what happened. Like, you have to expect that, too, that Viking knew that was going to be coming, but this is what they decided to go with. And, I mean, look at Shad. Like, he's getting, like, almost nothing down bottom.
It's such a tough lane. It really is. You said on paper, you're just Magnus, Lina, you're not going to have a lot of fun against it. You know, Seb and Saxa very well versed in playing this duo as a combo. So just, yeah, Shad's going to have to play the catch-up game, and
exactly.
You've got to look at the other cores, a Brood and an Invoker. You've got to ask yourself, are these other cores that are going to allow your safe lane to have the time and space to recover? You know, what can they do on their own to make the time happen for Shad to get his first few items online?
They better have some crazy stacks prepared. I see Aramis has gotten some done at the Ancients, but might not be enough as Shad. Does get the call on Soxa, Cold Feet procs.
Saxa, he's still got a Fairy Fire that he's holding on to as well. He's able to set up here with a stun onto Celery, but they'll play it cool. Saxa.
Oh, the rocket's coming.
Oh, off the mark.
He tried.
Saxa's going to be fine.
It's a good attempt. Aramis looking to set up for that 6-minute rune. Thompson, empty bottle.
Hey, might be able to set up onto Thompson himself.
Yep.
He's coming in on the mid. Thompson rather low. And he'll drop the Magnetize, try to look for the rollout, but the Patria Assault's there from Aramis. Thompson up to the high ground, pots the stick charges. He's not getting away, though. Aramis having enough damage and control to bring down the Earth Spirit. A very important gank to be made there. Same time over in the jungle. Saxa, he gets and chases down Celery deep into his own half of the map. And Saxa will be able to get the kill and get out. But yeah, that mid lane, a big catch there for Viking. They had to keep control of Thompson somehow, slow down his free farm that he has been getting up until now. 40 CS, of course, on that mid lane Spirit.
Huge. They get the Earn Charge too for Boom. He's got an Arcane Rune. He has to get his mana back, but he could look to make moves around the map. And I think they've got to start breaking lanes. I don't think you can just stick with the way that it's been. So we do see AA make the way top. Shad getting closer to Vanguard. He's just sticking down bottom by himself. Probably going to make the move toward top to go for those stacks soon, too. It's Kezu almost 6. Aramis waiting in the wings right here.
Samel Stepping up a little bit, but Aramis, he's looking to get on top of Notel instead. Closes the gap straight away onto the Oracle. Notel is going to be able to keep himself safe a little bit with the Fate's Edict. Aramis able to block him off enough for the cold feet to kick in. Aramis, he's going to continue to sort of bait them away. They're not going to be able to kill Notel or Sumail. Maybe Kezu can actually. He's in onto the Oracle. Has he got enough control and damage? Notel, a quick route actually holds back Kezu long enough to allow Notel to separate himself from the two, and Notel will survive.
Wow, I can't believe Notel gets away with that one there. Kezu was so close to getting the 6. He was finishing up the creep wave, but not quite there in time to get the backup to get that kill. And yeah, just looking at lane still. OG about 2K gold lead coming out of this one here. With I think that's to be expected with the way that the setups have gone here. So I don't think Viking can be too fussed about it, just because that's just the way it's going to be with the way that it's gone. And now Kezu is able to apply his pressure top. Gonna go for the pipe build, as expected versus that Leshrac, and versus the Earth Spirit Core.
Sumail still feeling confident enough to come back into the lane.
Yep.
And
same
hold
build
on to this tower.
Yeah, we're going to see the same build that we've seen him do when he was on Liquid, when they pair it with the Oracle, that Eternal Shroud early on. Should be very effective.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And in the mid lane we see, just with the EMPs here from Boom, just leaving Topson in a state that doesn't allow him to get maybe as active as he wants to, with this consistent harassment of the mana drain of the EMP.
Yeah, and he's going to do the same build that we did mention that he loves. It's got to be the Echo Saber. Get that big damage talent at 10-2. It's actually really nice on Earth Spirit. I think it's something that's been underlooked at for a long time here. We'll see if it does work out this game for them, because laning phase looks great, but Viking, they're going to start getting some momentum here with Kezu very soon. Both supports playing around him. That does mean that they're going to be a bit under-leveled here. Celery, level 4, and he's got good levels, but Aramis, he's not even level 4 on this Clockwork yet.
Yeah, and his level's definitely quite important when you consider how much sort of the trio really needs to achieve. Now, Aramis, Celery, and Boom, these three, they've got to be looking for the setups for the kills. Boom, he's making his way up top. He's ready for the setup. It's a beautiful angle here with Tornado EMP down onto the two of them. They take down Notel. Sumail out of mana. Boom with a beautiful rotation up top, lines it up perfectly, and wipes OG out of the top lane.
Very nice early move. And they know that, I mean, with these early moves, it's actually going to close that gap after the laning phase completely here, because they're not killing Shad. He's sitting at his tower. He's got his Vanguard. So, yeah, these moves will be working out here for Viking. 4-2 now, as OG looking to strike back.
Looking for Shad. Shad. Play it safe underneath the tower. Will show himself. See if Topson sees an opportunity to dive in and set up for this. Already starting here with the Shockwave into Light Strike Array. RP drop down as well. It's the carry. They'll throw everything down onto Shad. Shad, he's got nothing to offer in return. He'll get a few spins and a call off, but he'll still end up going down here to the aggression of OG. Same time up top. Sumail also receiving a similar bit of aggression from Viking as they dive in, they take down the Leshrac, and they can continue to put the pressure onto this tier 1 tower top. Once again, Boom getting involved, enabling his side lanes, and just pulling together the resources to make sure that even with the fact that they didn't get quite as much as OG out of the laning stage, they've still got the tools to get these objectives taken down.
And I loved what he did there, too. So we see that sentry ward on the side of OG. I placed up toward near the tier 2. They actually got a D ward. But what that ward did is it scouted out the TP from the Oracle, knowing that there's going to be a follow-up TP on the front. So Boom, he leaves mid. TP's top to make that move to set up so that they can go for this tower push. Because I think they also knew that Shad was getting ganked, but they just accepted it. They're like, whatever, Axe is going to die. Let's make our own hit at the same time. And they did. So they get that successful push top. And now they swing over to the mid lane to defend. While we do see OG, they're going to look to hit the bottom tower as well, so they can get that space. The Leshrac's making the move down with level 3 Edict. It's going to die in no time. Boom does not have a TP to defend the bottom tower either, so OG should be able to just finish that one off. They're pinging it like they want to defend, though.
It'll be a hard defense to make. I mean, maybe because Aramis is 6, you know, they do have the potential to more aggressively set up for the counter plays. Yeah, it's already gone. They're looking towards mid instead. Boom, pushing in. As we say, the all-important ultimates now ready on Aramis and Celery. They've got a huge combo to blow up any member of OG, really, if they can land that hook shot on Ice Blast.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Kezu starting to bully the support. Saksa.
Ice Blast. Oh! Oh, cracking shot there from Celery. There's the tips. They're going over to Seb because why not? Well, there we have it. Celery, he's feeling good about that. Beautiful shot.
Immediate pushing coming out from Sumail in the bottom lane. Magnus farming inside jungle.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Thompson
attack.
has his Echo done. So he looks like he's going to be that, they don't have that right clicker with Empower from your traditional carry sense, but hey, Earth Spirit, he packs a punch on him. With the damage
60
down,
damage,
plus
it's a lot.
plus, dude, with the Empower, man, I'm looking forward to see what potential it's got.
Yeah. I mean, like whatever hero in the game has a damage talent that's close to that at level 10, right? There's some like Kunkka has like a plus 30 or something, maybe
Lion
plus
has the
20.
70, right? At 10.
Oh, he has a...
But he's not a carry, but that's literally the only other one that's that high at 10. So.
Sure. But on melee heroes, this
But
is
on
probably
melee,
the highest.
that's gotta be the
60
highest,
damage. Yeah. That's... I mean, how much would 60 damage set you back if you're looking at items? You know what I mean?
It's a relic.
Demon Age, that's 40 damage, that's
It's a relic.
2,200. It's a relic, yeah.
Yeah.
That's effectively, that's much bigger value than many of the level 7 talents in the game. You know, when
Look
you
at
look
his
at sort of
damage.
just straight up value.
Look at Thompson's damage. Yeah, look at that. He's
Yeah.
got like 200. Well, it doesn't. Tooltips doesn't show it, of course, but he's got plus 117 with that Empower. So.
There we go. Smoke up from OG. They're going to try and look to lead in here. Thompson with the level 10 that we're talking about. He's ready to punch.
And Shad's still just farming Ancients, so he's fine. He's still getting like well and truly enabled here. Celery, he's gonna be the one who's found, but I think that's just fine. That's your 5.
That's true, Shad. Yeah, space is certainly being made for him.
Yep.
He's getting on track with the Vanguard into Manta. He needs time, he's getting it. Kezu's starting to take good control of the OG jungle. They're going to get the lead in, look towards Boom. Hookshot actually off the mark. Light Strike away from Saxon comes crashing down onto the Invoker. Boom still trying his best to get out of there. He's actually going to be able to break away from it all. Zaramis is in with the Battery Assault. Stops Thompson from being able to follow up with any further rolling boulders. They'll turn towards Aramis instead. But Aramis going down, it's given time and space for Boom to get away from the rest. The full 5-man here now of OG that's looking to bring the action.
Thompson's in again anyway. Deep ward.
Finds Celery. Get the blast out though. Thompson, he's trying to roll away. Now they've got the control here with the call. Still, OG, they're able to outnumber Viking. Thompson, he's diving in further. He's feeling strong and empowered here from the backup. No-tail with a false promise. Another roll away. OG now deciding to start backing up as the respawn started coming to play, but Topsy took too much damage through the false promise. He ends up going down anyway. Now Kezu, he's in with the spiders. He's blocking off the escape. Saxa struggling to get himself around the spiderlings, and he can't escape. Shad closes in with the dunk. He's got the cool control on a Samael. Shad, he's going to be able to have another dunk in a second. There it is. Double kill for Shad. No-tail caught in the cogs. Viking.
Whoa.
They're having none of this aggression from OG as they hit back way harder than OG was coming in with themselves. You know, diving towards this tier 2. Incredible amount of aggression from Thompson. Too much aggression as that hurts OG big time there. Big step up for Viking.
Thompson is a literal madman. Diving into tier 2, he gave away his team's ward with that. It gets insta-dewarded, and then they just, I mean, that's such an over chase there. He gets vesseled. There's no healing coming out. That was a bit strange coming out from OG, but Viking, they show up with numbers, they fight back, and now Shad all the way at the top. He's pretty much got the Manta done. OG, they do have these huge stacks now to go back and work on, but that was quite an overextension that Viking's going to be very happy about.
Absolutely. Now we see Thompson straight up. You know, needs that BKB next up. He has it queued. Just something to allow him to get away with those sort of moves. You know that OG is going to be making them, especially when you see a draft like this. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to work out. Viking, you know, they knew what they were signing up for here when they came into this first series against OG. And with the moves and reactions like that around the tier 2s, you know, they know exactly what OG is going to be bringing towards them. And they're showing that they do have answers for it.
And they're already starting to get their own tier 2. Like, this tower's dead. Kezu's going to finish this off, and then they have outpost control too, so they're going to start denying some good XP from OG. OG is going to have to look to make their own move. They're already pinging down toward this bottom tower, and they can push very fast tier 2, but again, well, I got to watch out for these overextensions. A couple more of those, and Viking's going to be just in a pretty damn good spot this game to control map. And they do scale very hard. Sure, this Earth Spirit has good damage, but...
On mid. Aramis. He's going to be able to find the angle onto Seb. Seb, he can't get back onto his side of the map in time. Zaramis catches him out. Viking picking up another, now starting to build up that net worth lead for themselves as that laning stage where OG were able to have the security, the advantage with the matchups. It's starting to become a bit of a distant memory now. Viking, they're bringing in the stronger plays.
Absolutely, and even though, you know, like I was mentioning, the Earth Spirit, he gets all this high damage and scaling potential and all that, I think we've seen really displayed by LGD that Axe is gonna outscale. He's gonna get to a point where he's just gonna start killing absolutely everybody on your team and just cutting the waves and making the game impossible. So OG can't make too many more slip-ups, it feels like.
Have the Ice Blast in onto No-Tail. OG. They're ready to back up their Oracle. In fact, Topson, he's ready to charge straight in. He's in with the silence onto Boom. Spirit Vessel's going to be laid down onto Topson. Aramis popping out the cooks to try and split up the fight. They push the two of them back here with the Deafening Blast. Cold Feet will kick in for Topson. A Viking now keeping themselves to the edge of the fight. They don't have Shab with them. Topson desperately trying to chase to catch a member of Viking, but Viking proving to be able to do a bit of a better job than OG was able to when it comes to knowing when to back, knowing when to get out. As Viking, nobody gets caught, nobody gets left behind.
I think it's super important that Viking's able to disengage in any of these situations. I think if you're not dying and not losing fights to OG right now, the scaling you're going to get in the later stages is going to be ridiculous. You have a Midas Invoker, you have Axe getting to this Manta Shard build soon. You're going to start getting a lot stronger, so just weather the storm. Don't let OG run you over in the next fight. You're at a great position with your gold, and just keep looking for these fights. Don't let them outnumber you. So this looks pretty good for Viking, and now looking to defend again top, even bringing the AA. I like that they're doing this. Just bring the battle back to them.
They show themselves present at the tower, and it's enough to stop OG from sticking around any longer. They back off. Boom. The Midas stun going straight for the BKB. These BKB timings for both sides, incredibly important due to the way that we're seeing both teams just consistently look to just butt heads with each other.
Lots of force stabs we see, of course, on OG to deal with that clockwork. They've got two finished up. Topson getting close to that BKB to have his own protection. Sumail, okay, he's got the Shroud and he's got the Sage now. So he's got that insane health, HP regen and lifesteal amp. So when he is Oracle ulted, he is running inside the fights. If he's not AA blasted, he will likely be at full HP inside of it. That's if he's not blasted during the ends of those ticks, though, because it will prevent the healing at that end of False Promise. And they have to make sure they ultimate a decent threshold, too. That is one scary thing about Axe is you can still dunk through False Promise if they don't get it off early enough on the Lash. Especially with Shad getting such good levels. He'll get that 20 talent early, the plus 150 threshold.
Absolutely, they've got to be careful. And No-Tail's definitely got his work cut out, you know, whether it be, you know, looking towards Sumail, keeping his Lash alive and buffed up in the fight, or just trying to bail out Topson when Topson goes in head first to the action.
Or trying to protect him, trying to just stay in a good position and stay protected, because he's versus Clockwork Rocket to scout him, Spiders swooping in from the back lines too, so it's difficult. OG, they've got a timing. BKB done on Topson, it's a big one.
He's ready to go in. Looking for Aramis. Aramis, he's going to be able to hop over towards No-Tail. The Ice Blast comes crashing in onto Sumail and Seb. Aramis continuing to run down No-Tail. Kezu coming over the back, pops the pipe. He's keeping Aramis alive. Sumail's trying to turn to bring down the clock. Will finally manage to do so. They get the catch onto Kezu as well with the Light Strike Array lining up for the rolling boulder from Topson. This time round, OG, they'll get the 2 kills, keeping everybody alive. Viking weren't quite prepared for a fight of the proportions there that OG brought to them.
Topson didn't even use BKB either. He just rolled in, he held it during the entire fight too, and now he finds himself a double damage too, so that high damage he already is doing will be increased. And I think same thing though for Viking, it's still just, you gotta stick together. If you know the way OG's gonna move around the map with the lineup that they've drafted, they're gonna look to play as this fighting 5-man. And it is OG, which, you know, they do that fighting 5-man anyway, even if they didn't have this type of draft, but I think Viking just needs to be a bit more together if they're gonna look to go for those type of fights.
And OG needs these fights to keep on track with Shad's farm. Shad, his net worth is going to start shooting ahead at a pace that, when it comes to just straight up farming the map, hitting the creeps, it's going to be very hard for any of OG's members to keep up with the Manta Ag Shard Axe.
It's just silly, because there's no risk with the Manta Shard of the Axe. You know, you're farming the whole map. Like, OG, they have to show themselves in order to do that type of stuff. That's why this Axe is just so crazy. I feel like we're going to just continue to see a lot of it until it does get potentially nerfed again.
Let's see what the next move in mind is here from OG. Relatively split up at the moment. Saxa just trying to get his bots farmed up on the bottom. Rather close to it as well, so we'll have that extra way to make sure that they can put pressure on these side lanes while still being kitted up and prepared to join forces to tackle Viking in a 5v5.
It does still look like both teams are fine with the state of the game, though, right? Like OG, I see
close.
them like sitting back. They're farming. They probably feel like
Yep.
they have a good way to scale too. Viking, they've got great ways to scale, as we mentioned with that Midas on the Invoker plus the Axe. But they do have Brood, and I know that a lot of the teams, a lot of the players have talked about how it gets to a point eventually where Brood just stops doing too much. So maybe that's where OG's looking at being like, okay, well, we've got things to deal with this. You know, we've got late game too.
Thompson.
Skezu.
Talking about the Brood, he's able to find him. Straight in with a rolling boulder. A tornado comes out to try and hold them back, but it'll only clip onto Samael. As Kezu goes down, OG ready to charge in for the next target. Thompson on the hunt. Quite able to get the slow onto Aramis. Aramis, some fancy footwork, doing his best to dodge it with a hook shot up to the Ancients. Aramis may just make it out of there. Cogs just in time, pushes back Seb after jumping, but they still are able to find the grab. Thompson in with another roll. They'll catch the clock, take him out.
Fancy footwork. Almost gets himself out, but
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is
As we're
under
seeing a
attack.
Viking. BKB is going to be done on Shad. Really wants that blink to be done until he's at a point where he feels he can turn up and potentially turn around these moves that OG's making against them.
even though they're the ones with the axe, they're getting out efficiency'd on the map. OG's getting much more farm and just swinging around as this unit here. They keep forcing reactions, and they're even stealing away Ancients. Like, look at Thompson. He's farming them with this Empower. And Kezu makes his way back up, but he's got to be careful. They're swinging Shadow over, though. BKB's done, but he doesn't have a blink for the setup, so he's just got to walk in as this axe still.
And Thompson's going to be hard to kill. Even
He
with
is
the
very
damage output of the axe later on, with this heart build, you know, it's a lot of HP that you're trying to get yourself through. It's a tanky Earth Spirit. And with the backup of sustain of heroes like No-Tail's Oracle, you know, maybe the days of, you know, Thompson diving in first and dying are far behind that of OG. They're really going to have to throw everything down on this Earth Spirit to have any chance of killing Thompson.
They have to find the backline, too. Like, it's going to be Aramis, has to find No-Tail, and then... I mean, I'm seeing Boom queuing up for the BKB, which you can see why, but maybe it is feeling like they are going to need just that Cataclysm a bit sooner. He's still a little low level, so it's only level 4 on the Exort, but... yeah, it just feels like OG's just getting more out of the map right now, controlling runes as well. Another DD on Thompson.
2K lead, steadily being built up by OG. Shad, 900 into the Blink Dagger. So you see over on the side of OG, Seb just continue to build up the auras, the protection, heading towards the Greaves. Saxa, once again, finding himself some space down on the bottom. Just going straight for the Ether Lens.
Great Lotus Orb game 2 now. Versus just pretty much Spirit Vessel. He can just protect his teammates versus that and the Cold Snap from the Invoker. Same thing for Cold Feet. So this is a good one. Good pick up here for Seb. And he's just going to go for auras like you said. And No-Tail, he's just sitting in mid lane, maybe expecting a move to go out on Thompson because Thompson's farming that risky wave. He's just sitting there Shadow Emulated, chilling.
So I think it's just so hard to make a move on Thompson.
Feels like it.
As you mentioned as well, Viking, I don't think they'll be falling for any sort of that bait. You know, Thompson alone presenting himself like that, I don't think they're going for that. They know the importance of finding the heroes around him before they get aggressive and try to do something.
And we do see, by the way, Boom, he did switch up the build. I think they're starting to realize, like, they're just farming the map. It's 11 to 11,
yeah.
but it's the gold lead's accruing more and more for OG. Like, they're just splitting up. They have this bots, Lina. Even though the Axe is on the side of Viking, OG is doing a better job of just keeping those side lanes pushed out with little to no risk.
And he's going to have it very soon, yeah. Just a couple of 100 gold away from the Axe.
Yeah.
Won't be at full power, but will certainly be something.
And it's gonna coincide with Shad's Blink, because he's about to have that done, but yeah, very passive from Viking. Kezu's starting to accumulate an army up top. Has a siege wave pushing towards, so we'll see one of OG's heroes react toward there. See Kezu also, he's been doing this most of the game, didn't really point it out, but layering spiders throughout the jungle, as you see on the mini-map right there. He's got like pretty much scouting of the whole OG jungle.
And of course for Kezu, you know, the halberd coming out. Not really the traditional counter you'd expect to an Earth Spirit. Now, oh my goodness, this Earth Spirit, we need a halberd to deal with him. But of course, with the strength and the damage talent, those right clicks on this Thompson build really do count. So having some sort of way to really stop that major source of physical right click damage that could come out after some of these setups like the RP, but will make a huge difference in the damage output of OG's team fight.
I hope Shad's got enough damage. I mean, I know it's an Axe who usually does have enough damage
a lot.
with himself, but
Yeah.
it feels like the rest of his team is starting to fall far behind. As Seb, he gets caught.
They're going to get the grab on him. They'll drop the Cataclysm, make sure they burst the Magnus before any sort of response comes out from OG. And a quick kill on the Mag like that, Seb off the map for a minute. That'll give Viking the confidence to head straight into the Roshan pit.
Gonna die quick too. That pure damage is no joke. Alacrity as well, thrown on top. Thompson has Heart finished. They're in the area.
Can they do anything to interrupt this though?
They've got a ward.
It's already fallen pretty low. They're going to try and burst Celeriel to the sides. It's going to be a buyback coming out from Zeb. Vikings standing step outside of the pit. Thompson committing him with the BKB over on the side. Though Shad, he's caught the backlines. He's found Saxa. Saxa gets taken out. Boom. Attempting to get away with the Ghost Walk. Thompson is able to find him with the dust. A deafening blast from Boom. Pushes back Thompson. They're looking back towards the Roche. Shad, he's trying to finish this. He's focusing it down. No one else is in the pit. Shad, he's going to be able to get in. Finish Roche. Grab that Aegis. Off to the side. He's in with the jump. The call off the mark though. Won't be able to grab Samael or No-Tail as the two of them split. Samael though falling low to the power of this Ice Blast. The false promise comes out. Shad, he's holding his ground here with the BKB. Steps back over towards No-Tail. No-Tail, he's providing the heals over towards Samael, but the dunk from Shad comes down onto No-Tail. Jump forward from Shad, chasing onto Samael. Seb will push back Shad with the skewer. The blast here from Kezu, not enough to finish Samael off, but Samael will live. The second buyback though coming out from OG around this fight. Thompson still full HP on the high ground. Aramis and Shad, Little Arm Mana has enough just for a call. It's the cold feet. Seb's coming over. Thompson very tanky. Tries to roll away. Kezu will be able to block him off. They're still sitting here with his 3,600 HP. They can't kill this Earth Spirit. They've got to bail. They've got to back off, especially now with the rest of OG coming back into play, chasing them down. Viking, they'll play heavily on the retreat. Thompson, he wants to try and catch someone. In onto Aramis. Aramis has the glimmer, but there's the control from Saxon. Light Strike comes crashing down along with the dust. They'll take down Aramis.
Long fight, but the pickoff that they get on Seb really pays off. They can get that Roche. They lose Boom, but they get Shad, his Aegis. He's got a Shard. He's got an Arcane Rune picked up, and they do lose the tower, and they do actually lose the gold on the map here too, but a pretty good hit there from Viking anyway. And showing that the Axe can do the damage. But Thompson is an issue.
Yeah, they've really got to get Thompson in this sort of setup and catch from Shad.
Yeah.
With the full damage of him and his illusion spinning away with the Cataclysm. Without those two components, they're not killing Thompson at all. Here we have it. The perfect setup, the call into the Cataclysm and the blast. It's still not enough, though. Just down to half HP. Thompson, he's out with the BKB. He'll go for the TP away. With the magic immunity lasting just long enough, he'll make it safely back to base. But, I mean, there we have it. Pretty much, as I say, that all the spells hitting that need to, it barely threatens Thompson, even with them all landing.
Yeah, he's going to be another cookie to crack, but if they can isolate him, can definitely see the potential for Viking. As they're smoked, they're still feeling strong. Level 19 on Shad, about to hit 20 for that extra threshold. Kezu's going to start scouting with those spiders.
Yeah, either Shad or Aramis could get the setup here. Shad. And they look towards Samael. He's going to get the catch here. Over by the creep wave. Ice Blast in. They can't save him. But the hook shot from Aramis comes down to the back lines. Catches Seb. Catches No-Tail. Pushes No-Tail down into the river with the cogs. They've taken out two of OG. And there's no buybacks available on these two. So the rest of OG, they're going to have to take this fight 3 versus 5. They get the cool control onto Thompson. Thompson, he's trying to roll away. But Aramis is in with the body block. So third death on OG as Seb and Saxa, they have to split. Boom's going to continue to hunt down the Lina. Saxa will put the dust to try and slow down Boom. Turns with the Light Strike. Will catch on to Boom. The movement speed, is it going to be enough here for Saxa? He does have the TP available. He's into the trees. He will manage to make it away. But a big hit there from Vikings, sending around the mid. And as you say, maybe Thompson just a little too set for another round. A few seconds too early before that BKB would have been back and prepared.
Yeah, they got full scouted too. The spiders swung behind from Kezu. They saw the Lesh walk into the river onto the low ground. Boom, immediately get the jump. I don't even know if the False Promise was in range yet, but either way, Aramis was there to cover it, gets a 2-man hook shot. Great fight from Viking again. And they're just, I think the biggest thing is just, like you said, identifying that fact of speed that you can make the moves. Earth Spirit's BKB was down. They just were not ready to fight. And Seb so far unable to really find any situations for an RP. I don't think we've seen one, have we?
I think just the solo one on Shad in the laning stage, down bottom at the very start. Other than that, no, Seb's, he's just not been able to make it in. It really has just been, a lot of it has been Aramis. The clockwork is the perfect answer to these heroes. These heroes that are trying to initiate, that don't have the ability to be the first to start the action. And of course, No-Tail, Saxa, two supports that Aramis is handling pretty well in these team fights.
Yeah, and sometimes it might look like they might be lacking damage. Like, you look at this Viking draft and you could think that they might lack some damage in some instances without the Cataclysm. But when you have an axe like this, the damage is just so ridiculous. Like, Shad's just putting all the work.
Shad! He's going to double back in, get the call off onto Zeb. Thompson, he's in with the kick. Breaks Seb away from the Cataclysm combo. Laguna thrown down into the RP. They've caught Shad. Can Shad actually get out of this? Sumail comes in from the side, will get the stun down. They blow up Shad. They are going to see a round 2 coming in from Shad, and Aramis, he wants to be a part of it. Buys back, ready to head straight back over to help out his axe. So I think he's tried to. The stun control's there. They've got nothing to break Shad out of the combo. Jump forward from Seb. He's also able to get the grab onto Celery. Steers him straight back into the heart of OG. As OG, they'll be able to finally get themselves back on track with a solid fight. Catching out the big man there. Shad down now for 70 seconds. The axe out of the game.
They chain stunned him too. He couldn't even get the BKB off after he revived. They just kept getting the stuns on him over and over again, and a nice kick out from Thompson, saving the mag. And as soon as we're saying it, of course, Seb, he's able to find a pretty decent RP for them to get a win, for Sumail to come in and clean up. 5k gold lead back to OG.
Absolutely, and that's the thing with Shad getting as much farm as he is. You know, Sumail, sort of outside of the action, has been keeping up very, very nicely. Now taking, in fact, the top spot against Shad's farm. As long as they can fight around Sumail, keep the space available for Sumail to do his job. This Lesh is going to kick out a lot of damage over these sustained brawls that Vikings trying to be a part of against OG.
Yeah, these long fights could be pretty difficult for Viking, for sure. With Bloodstone, with the Shroud, there's so much extra healing that Sumail does have. Blink too, extra survivability if you are False Promise. Spider Legs too to, you know, scurry around the fights. And now these stuns layered, it's difficult for Viking to really set up for their own racks.
Yeah, it is with no Shad, no defense potential there at all as the melee Rex gets taken out. See if they can catch Thompson whilst he comes in with the attempt to retreat. Still got the BKB ready to pop. In fact, they're ready to turn. Shad tries to get him with the call. He's not going to be able to get the grab. Sumail is able to get himself out of the Cataclysm combo. They've brought down No-Tail. Thompson just diving even deeper. He's going to TP out with the remainder of the BKB. As OG will look to back off. They got the objective. They got what they came for. They don't want to lose anything more than No-Tail. And by the looks of it, Sumail up to the cliff, and with the TP out, they won't lose anyone else indeed. Sack's also able to make it out in the lane. Objective taken, only an Oracle's life to cost for it there.
Those are the moments when you know as a supporter, as an Oracle, that you're dead. You know, your carry, your Earth Spirit just rolls into the tier 4s. You're an Oracle versus a Broodmother and a clock. Spiders just around you. You got no hope. But they do get the racks, so that's the important thing for OG. And continue to scale. SNY now on Thompson too.
Back to base you go. Back to base you go.
Definitely slowing down a little bit now for Viking. BKB on Boom, so he's going to be a little more set to position himself aggressively, but I think, you know, considering the way the game is going, it is going to be the refresher that's the real key timing once again. It's all about the burst that they can offer in that combo. It really is. You know, we talked about how the sustained fights right now will favor that of OG. For Viking, it's all about that initiation or the counter initiation, getting in and starting the fight off with a numbers advantage, bursting down at least one of OG's cores or both of the support backliners to start the fight.
Absolutely. And yeah, OG, they look like they're ready to go for this push again. Thompson's already in the mid lane. They have Seb dealing with the bottom. This is 35 minutes, so we see these catapult waves coming in.
Shad.
They're going to kill Dragon.
Shad.
He makes a move.
They can do it. Thompson. He's ready to put the BKB, and he's ready to try and get in on this. Rolls in onto Shad, taking a heavy damage though underneath the tower. Aramis in with a hook shot, pushing back with the cogs as well. He's caught in the Cataclysm. He's taking heavy damage after this false promise. He's going to fall pretty low, Thompson. No-Tail's trying to offer up enough heals to keep Thompson safe, but he cannot do so. Thompson dying underneath the tier 3s, and Shad, he's ready to turn this in more. Gets the jump in on the Sack, the calls there onto the Lina. Kezu, he's looking to charge down, hex down onto Seb, as Seb will skewer away as this little piggy tries to run up the high ground. He actually makes it out with a blink. Seb skew off just in time before the hex came into play. And Seb's able to fly his way out of there. But still, nonetheless, 3 dead on OG. Again, just playing a little too close to the tower. Thompson overestimating his tank ability with a BKB in the heart. Once more, they might get
another
Sumail as well. Shad, there's with the spider legs. That's enough. Sumail's able to break his way over the cliff. He will get out. Boom's looking for Seb up top.
Yeah, they're setting up top already.
So if they can get anyone else out of it. As Aramis is making his way over. Hookshot is up. Seb with a force and a skewer. He's deep into the trees. Aramis won't be able to follow up.
Vikings playing this, they're still playing this very, very well. Like, this game is 21-17,
It's
still
close.
super
It's
close.
a close game.
it's good how they're identifying that. OG, they identified, they're like, oh, 35 minutes, we've got these double sieges. Let's split up, kill the one's bottom, but also go for mid. Topson just goes too far. Viking, identify that, they punish it. So this is really good balance from both sides, just understanding what they need to do in the game. But OG overstepping a couple times now in this game and getting caught out for it here. Topson, now this is the second time that he stepped up too far. Seb.
He's going to get the catch on a Seb. Hookshot as well as the false promise. They'll try and get Seb back to safety. False promise comes out from NoTail. Seb, he's looking to turn, will drop the RP, it's down on a Boom, but Boom got the BKB off in time, so there's going to be no follow-up after the RP. Viking, they'll get away, so will OG though. Seb will be saved.
37 minutes, we got new items to pick up for both sides. See who gets better luck.
Well, I guess the big one, of course, as always, is the Illusionist Cape for Shad, if he can find that.
Yeah. Timeless Relic, also for the side of OG, would be really big, but they actually get on Viking, which is huge also for the Invoker.
There's some juicy tier 4s here. Telescope, you know, never going to complain about finding a telescope.
OG's on the hunt. No RP at the ready, but they know BKB still on cooldown for Viking.
Oh, Celery. It's off for the side. Shad actually looking for the counterplay. They get the Hexen onto Seb, but the Lotus was there as well. They'll blow up the AA. Celery not able to get back underneath his tower.
He gets like two-shotted by the Earth Spirit. 500 damage Earth Spirit.
And they're looking for Aramis as well. They found their second support. There's Aramis. There's going to be a buyback to Celery. Aramis turns straight away with a hookshot in onto NoTail. They've got him. They've blown up the Oracle. Now they're turning towards Topson, but Topson with a BKB is ready to push in. Rolling boulder straight past Aramis though. Aramis will still fall to the damage output of Samael. Shad trying to run back Saxa and Seb. Topson, he's out with the roll. They've got nothing else to catch him with. Saxa keeping the hits in onto Shad, stopping his ability from being able to blink in and get the catch off. Boom over towards the mid. He's running down Samael with the Cold Snap and the Spirit Vessel. Samael backups coming in. Seb charging forward. He uses the Force Stuff to try and get Samael back to safety. The Spy Legs are there. Shad calls off the mark. Won't catch the two of them. Cold Snap down onto Samael. Now Shad, he's being controlled. Will put the man to try to get away, but Seb's back in with a skewer. Skewer onto Shad. Shad will fall. The axe down. 3 dead on Viking. Topson catch onto Kezu in with the Rolling Thunder. Straight over Kezu. Turns with the Hex onto Saxa to stop any follow-up Light Strike Array from coming out straight away. Kezu. It doesn't matter though. Saxa has the time still to turn. Kezu getting completely controlled here. Another slow from the boulder of Topson in with the stun. Landing everything here against the Spider, leaving Kezu no chance to break away from the control of Topson and Saxa. It's 4 dead on Viking.
That was a crazy fight. There was like 2 different fights going on during the entirety of it. Shad's chasing Seb the whole time while Topson's zoning 3 heroes as the Earth Spirit. And that's with OG losing NoTail right at the start of the fight. And they still can't deal with Topson. 5,130 HP Earth Spirit. Zoning away 3 heroes with the Lesh. That was a huge fight from OG.
Yeah, especially, you know, with the way that, yeah, as you say, Viking, they did sort of make the big, well, what could potentially have been a big brain move to turn. That initial hookshot from Aramis, pretty much finding it onto NoTail through the entire squad of OG, blowing up the Oracle. It just didn't quite matter this time around. Viking not having the positioning to deal with OG, running at them and sort of tearing them apart, distracting them, splitting the team away from one another.
And like Sumail's just his self-healing. He didn't even need the Oracle's healing this time around. The Bloodstone plus the Shroud, it was enough to keep him topped off and just keep disengaging. He also had a Haste Rune, did come into play, but Shad got like a good 2-man call in the back, dude. Didn't get like this crazy amount of spins, but looked like the fight could have gone either way until the last few seconds of it there, where Topson's just holding his ground. 5,150 HP with a Trickster Cloak. Like, this Earth Spirit's pretty damn unkillable unless he just dives too far, as we've seen a few times from Topson.
Especially with that Trickster Cloak. A lot of effective HP to try and work through. Yeah, Topson, he's probably going to have to dive into the fountain to have the sort of situations where OG's getting punished for the aggression. But, you know, it is OG. That can very well happen. We may find Topson in that exact position. You got to watch out for it.
And we do have the refresher done for Boom now, too. So we do have a secondary go after the first explosion. They could have a secondary Cataclysm that can to clean up, because it does feel like, you know, we said there maybe could get to points for damage issues for Viking, and we actually are getting to those points versus this crazy tanky Earth Spirit. So, yeah, second round of it will help, but they're trapped in their base. OG continue to get that over-efficiency of the map.
There's going to be a test now here for OG. How safely can they break away the high ground objectives from Viking without falling to the temptation of diving in deep against them?
They're about to be 25 on the Lash, so that'll help quite a lot just to push that much quicker. Thompson also does have a DD. He finds himself a Spell Prism, too. And yeah, he's going in.
Let's see what they got on the high ground here, Viking. Boom setting things up. Look at Shad and Aramis. Already trying to get in from the side. Looking for an angle on the backlines. Aramis, he's in. He's been able to find No-Tail. Straight in onto the Oracle. No-Tail, he's trying to protect himself, but the Ice Blast comes crashing and he gets taken out. Over to the side, Shad. They're protecting him for now with the Glimmer Cape. Stuart over to the side. If they got further lockdown for the Axe, they don't. Shad's able to put the BKB. Heading up to the high ground. He's got the core control onto Thompson. Caught underneath the tower. Light Strike away from Saxa. Holds back the two of them, but Boom now with the BKB out. Chases towards Thompson. Jump forward for Shad. He's in with the dunk. They're taking out the Earth Spirit. OG's push will be put to a stop. As again, Aramis just finding somehow that this angle every single time through the entire team fight, the entire 5-man of OG, he keeps finding the perfect line onto No-Tail.
And they no messing around too. I thought maybe for a sec it could be like a bit of a mistake there from Boom, just doing the full double Cataclysm, because I don't think most of the actual Sunstrike's connected, but they got the Oracle, and then Earth Spirit just commits a bit too far. He gets a little too overzealous trying to finish off the Invoker and just gets completely locked down, so OG does still have to give some respect to this massive burst combo and also to the wraparound. Like Aramis, time and time again, has been able to find those wraps.
Yeah, these are big holds, big moves here from the defensive from Viking, considering as well. Still, yeah, 11k down against OG. But making moves like that, you definitely don't feel that much of a difference between the two squads. Some very solid moves from Viking.
And a good point out there from our observer. You know, I did mention how Thompson did switch out to go for Spell Prism instead of going for that Trickster Cloak. Maybe that Trickster would have been enough to keep him alive inside of that crazy dive forward. Yeah. He was swapping the cheese in, and he had like 1 second or so left till the cheese was back in his inventory. So, hey, yeah, it probably would have saved him there, at least for some time to get the Oracle back in position.
See what they can bring on the next round. Sumail still huge as ever, despite these back and forth moves. 28,000 net worth on the Leshrac. Getting closer to being able to pick up this Arcane Blink and still having the availability of buyback.
And No-Tail, he has no buyback. If he gets killed in this next fight, he's not going to be able to buy back and come back to join in like he's been trying to in the last few. So OG, it's a bit of a scary push for them. Even though they have Aegis left for 50 seconds, they're probably feeling a bit concerned to actually go for it here. As I believe the double Cataclysm's back up in 20 seconds for the Invoker.
So they're going to be keeping an eye on that timing for sure, you would imagine, OG. So the question has to be, what are they going to do about it? I mean, when it comes to OG's heroes, we see Thompson very much, you know, he does have a pretty long reach in terms of who he can dive in and get on top of. But other than that, actually finding someone to really stop Boom from ever getting off his combo from the back of the fight, it's not easy for OG's heroes, right? They can't really stop Boom from doing his job every single time. As long as Aramis or Shad's in between Boom and OG, Boom's gonna be able to drop those double Cataclysms every single team fight.
Absolutely. It's not easy, no? Especially with No-Tail having no buyback or not. Like, if you've been watching his last gameplay for the last minute and a half or so, he's just Shadow Amulet randomly in the river, because he knows it's like, if he gets caught, the game could just get really weird for them in these next few moments, because he'll be down for like 100 seconds, they'll lose full map control. Even though they've got the 10k gold advantage, you know, this Cataclysm is no joke. So yeah, it feels like they have to just these angles of approaches is a bit strange. It's a bit difficult for them, and Seb might be needing to get that RP off, but it's the same thing. Like they're fine. They're getting on top of that backline. They're getting on the Magnus. They're getting on the Oracle to prevent them from doing so. But still anybody's game, really.
Absolutely. We see Thompson now here in the late game. At the moment, queuing up the Ags. What do you think he's got in mind when it comes to this? Is this going to be being picked up? Is it for the save or for the disable on one of these cores of Viking? Or do you think his job's now going to be just sort of kicking No-Tail out of the team fight, at least giving No-Tail a chance to live if they do find him?
It could be both. It's probably more so just saving No-Tail, because then he can if he just gets the Stone Remnant onto him, then he survives throughout the Cataclysm combo. But if he sees an opportunity where he can roll in and kick somebody out of base, you know, there's always possibilities for stuff like that. And then they've got skewers, and they've got the boulder to kick people out of base, or the enchant remnant, so
I mean, that is true.
It's a lot of range.
We haven't really seen a lot of this game around OG's base, but when it does get there, OG's going to have a pretty good delivery system for taking heroes from the tier 3s straight into their fountain. So, you know, Viking, as much as they're pulling out a very impressive hold on their half of the map, they've definitely got quite a mountain to climb when it comes to turning that into the ability to end the game or threaten the game against OG.
You know what my favorite thing about this game is, though, Owen? We have two lineups that are very explosive, right? With like their Cataclysm combos, AA Blast. We have even Lagunas and stuff like that. Let's take a look at how many Aeon Discs we have. There's a big 0 right now, which makes me feel really nice because I don't know, that item is just running rampant everywhere.
I mean, what is it, sort of a gentleman's agreement from the teams, you think? You know,
I think
nobody wants to play with
they're
Aeon
gonna start
Discs,
buying
you
them
know.
now. I think No Tail's probably like, I need an Aeon Disc, guys.
A smoke up from Viking. As soon as the action's back on, they want to bring the heat.
There's another Aeon Disc. Yeah, as soon as we say it, man, they start... Look, Shad's got one. We've got one coming out on No Tail soon, too.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense from Shad as well.
Sure does.
For him, you know, sure, damage is going to be limited from himself, but just being able to survive and get the call off, allowing Boom to drop the 2 Cataclysms, the lockdown from the Axe will be enough to start off the action, even if the Aeon Disc gets procced.
Clockwork rocketing side lanes, scouting out. OG does show themselves down bottom. Starting to get the push going again.
Here we go.
It
Back
dies
up to tier
fast.
3's OG.
They got to get back quick, Viking.
See what Shad can do. Watching from the side. Stepping up. He's going to look for the grab. He's been able to catch the two on the back lines. He's found Seb and Saxa. Straight in with a hook shot as well onto Seb. Pushing him back with the cogs into the second round of Cataclysm. Seb, he's going to get away with the skewer, but the damage is done. Seb's out for 2 minutes. Thompson, his BKB has come to an end. Aramis committing with his own BKB. The Cell Stone into the slide away. Thompson will break his way out of any further combo. In fact, Thompson's ready to go back in. Thompson will look to finish off the range racks. Just have to be a bit careful with no BKB. Jump forward, but the Hex is out onto Aramis. Samel, he's in with the damage. Tornado holds out onto the 2 of them. Aramis still somehow alive. Will get the cogs off. Aramis has died, but he's been able to trap Samel and Thompson. Thompson rolls out to the side. The cold feet kicks in. Samel's been taken out. Thompson, another roll to get off to the side. Aramis not quite able to get the angle there with the hook shot. He's still trying to run away, Shad. He's going to blink up in a few seconds, but with the rolling thunder, Thompson will be able to continue to get out of there. They find No-Tail off to the side. Tornado in from Boom. They've caught the Oracle as No-Tail down for 100. Both him and Seb without the ability to buy back, as Viking only having to utilize the buyback of Aramis to hold OG off, as OG will be pushed back. They're not able to claim anything from the mid set of racks. And now a bit of a window where Viking, they could punch back pretty hard and take objectives from OG already top. Boom, he's looking for the setup onto Thompson. He's been able to sneak over into the jungle. He's found Thompson, and with the outpost under their control, Aramis gets him with the TP. Hookshot is up, but the stone form lasts just long enough from Thompson to avoid the connection of the hookshot. As Thompson, he'll only just, but he will manage to get himself away.
I mean, Viking got like so much out of that. They got top racks. They got a huge fight in the mid lane. They only lost, what, a range racks, I believe, out of all of it, too. So, yeah, massive. Absolutely
range
massive
racks and a clockwork buyback. So very small.
Very small.
Things being offered by Viking to be able to take that against OG Thompson. He's in on the mid. He's been caught out by the call. We'll get the BKB off in time, but the first Cataclysm comes crashing in. Hookshot off the mark there. Can't quite get past Shad to get the control onto Thompson, so Thompson will be able to still step back underneath the tower. Return with the silent Shad. Aeon Disc will proc. They'll back off for now. 10 seconds until Seb's back in. About 10 as well until Samel's back in the game. Samel really not wanting to have to use his buyback, of course, with these last few seconds that he is off the map. See if Viking can force the racks in time. Over to the side, Shad. He gets the grab on Saxa. Saxa standing a little too close. Over to the mid. Seb, he's in with the RP. Onto the 2 of them. He's able to push back Aramis underneath the tower, as well as Kezu, but there's no follow-up onto both of them. Buyback comes out from Saxa. Another skewer. Again from Seb, scooping up the 2 of them. Aramis will die underneath the tier 4s. Kezu trying to break away with the help of the wedge, but the light strike comes crashing down from Saxa. Kezu will fall. OG themselves this time round, just one support buyback will hold back Viking. Viking not quite able to get the melee racks in the mid lane, as OG, they will bring out the defense.
And it's 100 seconds now the other way. Let's see what OG looks to make happen with that time, since they didn't have their Magnus for 100 seconds, so that's why Viking went for the push. Now we've got it going the other way. Seb, he should have buyback for the next one, though. He was just short on gold, I think it was, so now this one he'll be able to get a little bit more farm out, and we'll have buyback after this next push, so OG gonna look to set for that one up, and yeah, we'll see what Viking does look to set up for here. Shad, he does buy out. He spends gold for his moon shard, so he's got that super high attack speed now. But yeah, 50 seconds.
Skip some creep waves here.
He needs to, because they could just lose. They could get megged right here. That's the scary thing about this Earth Spirit plus this Slash Strike. It's 50 seconds. That's more than enough time.
I mean, the creep's getting too close. There's not going to be any backdoor protection here for Viking as Thompson. Tier 3's gone. On to the racks here. What can the three of them offer up, Viking? Thompson, he's in with the roll. He's going to be able to use the stone form here to kick him back deep into the hands of the rest of OG. Shad still able to get the BKB off in time. BKB and walk off to the side. They'll put the fortification. Still 30 seconds until Vikings got the full squad left alive. Boom. The AoE deafening blast. Slowing down the push here from Thompson a little bit. And not enough. The range rack still goes down. Thompson over towards the melee racks. So we're just the three hard to push them back. Samael, he's in aggressive with a Hex onto Boom. Thompson rolls forward as well, but Boom's out to get the BKB off. The Cataclysm comes out, but there's no setup as Celery dies underneath the tower. He does have a buyback available. Thompson looking for the roll in onto Boom, but Boom with the movement speed able to juke it out to the side. Seb dropping the RP, but the Eon Disc from Shab removes the stun immediately. He's got the damage control onto Samael. Samael, he's going to have to buy back, but Saxon's down. No buyback on him. Thompson, BKB committed as he tries to stay on top of Kezu and Celery, but Shad, it's another triple kill. He's over to Seb. It's another ultra kill. It's Thompson, the last man left alive. He'll turn into a stone, he'll turn into a statue. Maybe they don't see me if I don't there, but they do. They see him. The Hex is down. Rampage for Shad. As Viking, they'll wipe OG, and they will defend the base, even keeping the melee racks alive on the top lane.
Dude, Chad got the two-man call on the back line. He got the Magnus and the Lina as Sumail was super far into the base. They got split up again. The Cataclysm connects, and then they're all split. Again, OG getting a bit too overzealous, it feels like, with their aggression, and they get turned out by Viking for like the third or fourth time this game.
Absolutely big hold there from Viking. Doing it for what must have felt like the longest of time for them as well, with just the 3 versus the full 5-man of OG. But they pull it off. They hold back OG. And now they're ready to run down mid here with a full squad.
They know there's no RP either for 30 seconds or so. The Aeon Disc, as you mentioned, it procced as soon as that RP went off. Similar cooldown, so they should know. Buyback is forced, though, from Thompson. And Roche is back up, so it does look like that's what Viking wants to scout out next. Take out the outpost first.
Playing it careful, playing it smart here, Viking. They know that they've now managed to shift the lead into their favor, but not wanting to make the same sort of misplays that OG has here. As Viking, they're eyeing up the mid lane.
Notel is quite far away from his team still. He's pinging himself. He's like, guys, I'm not there yet. Be a little careful. I'm coming.
Thompson rolling in.
Goes in deep.
He's able to make it away and chancing himself.
He's dying.
I mean, they're going for this Roche pretty much with the full lineup of OG alive. Viking feeling that strong about their ability to take objectives out to the side of the pit, though. They've caught Aramis. They're in with the jump. Aramis, he's out. That's the gem hitting the decks. Aramis gone for 90 seconds, but the time is brought there for Viking to finish off the Roshan. And now they'll look to try and get themselves out of it. Thompson in with the chase over towards Celery, but they'll turn. Boom with the 2-man tornado. The RP from Seb comes down on a Boom, but Boom again getting the BKB off in time. Thompson rolls over towards Celery, has the damage to take down the AA. The AA is gone. Boom pushing about with the deafening blast. He's up to the high ground. Cataclysm coming down as OG's starting to get split. They look towards Shad, but Shad blinks out just in time. Thompson still trying to chase in onto the Axe. Shad has got enough movement speed here with the boost of travel to get out of there. He has it. Thompson in with another roll. They'll catch the Axe. They'll bring down Shad the once. He's got the Aegis ready for round 2. No BKB. Eon Disc up in a second. Has Shad got any way out of this? The Hex comes out. Shad trying to run, but there's no help coming in for him. Shad will be left to die alone.
Base is starting to get sieged. Good fight, though, from OG. They get the supports right at the start, and they can actually keep Notel alive for once. They get the jump onto him with the Hex, but his Aeon Disc ends up sort of, keeping himself alive to get the kite around. And OG, I think they lost a full AC on the courier during this fight from Thompson, but either way, able to get the fight back. Getting rid of Aramis seems to be pretty important at the start of the fight. Even though it looked like he kind of caught the rolling boulder for his team, he dies right at the start of the fight, and it seems very difficult for Viking to fight without him. They will get their gem at least.
I mean, and I guess Shad maybe feeling the inevitability of OG trying to force something whilst we are dead, coming out with a sort of an unprovoked buyback there, which could leave him in quite a risky position. I guess was just really scared of something coming in, wanted to use the buyback sooner than later, but might have got away with holding off on that.
Yeah, I guess he just wanted to be able to buy back, use Manta, cut waves,
push lanes,
right, with the shard and stuff like that.
That's true.
Yeah, it could end up hurting him for sure. He spends his gold. He's got his overwhelming blink now too.
No, definitely going for the riskier move, but as you say, maybe a necessary one. Just making sure that the backdoor protection does not get close to be taken out with any of the lanes approaching the base. Kezu. They got to jump in there. There's got a Hex on a Kezu. Kezu! He needs help and he needs it now. Shad him with the call. He's able to get the call onto both Thompson and Samael. Seb He's looking to get in with the RP, but the Hex comes out. Kezu's out. Buyback immediately from the Spider. Amos in with a hook shot onto Samel, but Samel's in with the BKB, starting to back off to the Cataclysm. It goes crashing down onto Seb. Seb caught between the two Sunstrikes. As Seb's gone, Shad, another great call. Catches Samel, even catches Thompson here on the attempted rollout. Thompson still able to break away with the further rolling thunder. Shad running him down. Thompson go for the TP. Is there anything to cancel it? There isn't. Thompson makes it out in time, but it's 3 dead on OG. Samel and Seb, no buyback available. Both of their buybacks on cooldown for at least 3 minutes. A huge window now where Viking, they may just be able to take something big here away from OG.
Looked scary for a second for Kezu. He dies, but it ends up being well worth it. They get the comeback. Seb, he gets caught by the Cataclysm again as Thompson.
Shad!
He's getting
He's
caught.
in! He's in with a fake back! Jumps back in straight away on a Saxon. Thompson false promise comes out to Saxon Hotel trying to keep his Lena alive. Encharmed Remnant and a self kick off to the side. Thompson, he's looking to get back up on the high ground, but the Hex is there. Shad, he's closing the gap. Another call. Shad will grab it, but again the Thunder was obviously time. He's able to roll away with the rolling boulder. As Thompson will live, but now 3 dead. No buybacks for OG as Viking, they're ready to close it up, or at least try to. Thompson and Notel, they've got to pull off something insane here to hold back the full 5-mana Viking. I don't know if they can do it though. Hex out onto Notel. Viking run down the Oracle. Notel's out of the game. Thompson the last man left alive, but not for long as Viking get the team wipe. GG is called as Viking will take this game 1, Fog.
Damn. What a good game. Honestly, from both sides, I feel like OG, a couple overextensions really hurt them this game, because it did feel like it was anybody's game, just the back and forth fights, but OG with like 2 or 3 overextensions perhaps, and Viking just showing up ready for these fights.